Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, okay. So today we are hoping to look at these three major things. First of all, we are looking at searching for software testing jobs, then applying for these jobs, and then acing interviews. And then, of course, we'll be looking at a couple of mistakes we frequently make and some tips that would help accelerate our results. And so let's just go right into it. Once again, I'm Tomi Familoni. I'm a senior software quality engineer at Remote, and I have about 10 years experience. Okay, so just like I said, landing a software job is divided into like three aspects. First of all, you are searching for the jobs, then you are applying, and then you are attending interviews, and then of course acing them. So when we talk about searching for jobs, it's not like you're necessarily going up and down, like looking here and there in search for the jobs. It could be from referrals. For me, personally, I've really enjoyed a lot of referrals. And maybe I'll just dwell a bit on this. Referrals could be from your former colleagues, your former classmates, maybe someone you know, maybe you attend a networking event, just like the one that is being advertised, and then you can be referred to. I remember there was a software testing program that we had where a couple of QAs met with like team leads from organizations. They just had a brief chat. We do that too at Remote where we are here. Our recruiters attend events like maybe there's so we the tech stack we use is Elixir. So tech recruiters attend those kind of events and then they just have chats with people and it could be your manager. I remember one of my jobs referred to I was working already somewhere else, and then a senior colleague of mine was they laid off, like they divided the team into two, and it was like laid off. But because he's of course very vast and very good, he was able to get a job, and then he referred me. I didn't know. I just noticed that this tech recruiter was just buzzing me on LinkedIn. I'm always very skeptical about those kind of messages. This recruiter kept on buzzing me on LinkedIn, buzzing me, and then okay, I just said let me give it a shot because um like before now I like to attend interviews frequently just to like assess my skills and so that I'm not just carried away with what's happening in my team alone. You know, in a company you are focused on one language, one framework, and just for me to have an idea of what's happening around. So I just decided to attend the interview, and that was how I got that job through referral. So number one, you don't necessarily need to search for jobs like you're sitting down to search for jobs. You could get referrals, and that is why I always advise people to be very diligent at what they do in their places of work. Feel that nobody's watching you. People are watching you. And before you can get referrals, so for example, when in my organization they say, please refer people, we are trying to recruit, we want to expand the team. I don't look for people that I don't know. I don't refer people that I don't know. I know I refer people that I've worked with that will not give me a burden. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. That would come and also help to push the mission of the team forward, people that have the skills. And so I'm skeptical about, I'm very intentional about people I refer, and it's the same for everyone because your image is at stake, your reputation is at stake. So what I'm just trying to say is that whatever you are doing now, whether it's a volunteering work, whether it's just you're in the class, you're still a student, people are watching. And so just wanted to mention that. So number two, I said searching for jobs. You can also search for online for jobs on online job portals. And I mentioned here there's a pattern to when jobs are being posted. I don't know if anyone has noticed that there's always a period of the year when there are more jobs. I hope people are still following. I don't mind if there are responses here and there, but there's a pattern when jobs are being posted. There's a time, like usually weekends, like Thursday, Fridays, you notice that jobs are being posted. And what you could do is that you could follow, you could maybe on LinkedIn, for example, you could set up a search and make sure that you turn on notifications for those kind of jobs. So you maybe set it to, oh, new jobs that are posted every week that are not more than 1 week. Excuse me, sorry for, okay. Can you still hear me? Hello, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So there's a pattern to when jobs are posted. There's a time. What you can do is just automate it so that you get notifications immediately. A recruiter posts it, you are getting a notification, and immediately you already have your maybe a document, a Google Doc that you've already maybe like frequently asked questions, your cover letters, maybe three types of cover letters, and so once they post it, you sit ready, maybe a Friday night, and you apply accordingly. So you need to have the right search strategies, the keywords to search for. So it's not like you're just searching, because it could be very daunting. It could be very challenging if you are not using the right strategies, the right keywords to search. So you don't apply. You don't need to apply for jobs that have been posted 3 months ago. So I'm just giving you an example using LinkedIn as a benchmark now. So number three, you could be approached by recruiters. So not necessarily you going out to search for jobs. You could be approached by a recruiter, probably maybe because you have maybe a podcast, you are posting something on LinkedIn, you are a bit active, posting, showcasing yourself, and maybe you have open to work on your platform. You have the right keywords in your as your job description and your headline, so you could be approached by recruiters. And then of course the fourth I mentioned here was pitching to companies. So maybe you are not very patient to wait for recruiters to approach you, or you have like a company you've been targeting, you've been wishing to work with. You could pitch yourself. So I have like a senior colleague. What he did, what he usually does then was that what he was doing then was that he would approach companies. Maybe he'll go to their website or their application, search, maybe come up with bugs or just suggestions for improvement. Maybe I observed that they don't have a team lead there, or they don't have a QA team there, or maybe he just has something to offer the company. So he would approach there's an HR email address on the website or something on LinkedIn. He would send an email and pitch himself. Maybe you can record a video. You just prepare a very wonderful email why they should employ you, what the skill gap is, or what the gap the company has, and how you can meet that gap. So you could do that too. So that is for the first part. So we are going to job applications now. Job applications. This is where, excuse me, many people take it for granted. They just feel that it's just about sending your CV. Oh, they sent a link to our WhatsApp group. Let me just click. Let me send my CV. Just quickly send it. You are just sending it. No, you have to be deliberate about your application, because when you are sending your application, you are not there, and your CV, your cover letter, whatever your profile is, what to be representing you, and you need to be intentional about applying for jobs. So number one, I said analyze the job vacancy. So if, for example, you are looking at maybe someone sends it to maybe a friend as a team lead somewhere else, or you see it on the job portal, the job vacancy, and you see that, oh, this is what they are. Of course you should be expecting that there should be a job description, there should be a expectation about the company and all of that. The first thing you should do before you click apply is to look at the job description, analyze what is they say, the requirements, what kind of frameworks, tools, or platforms are they expecting, or what do they use. You can check their website. So maybe they have an engineering blog. What kind of framework you don't just apply. Of course, many of us know that software testing is a broad field. Some companies might be based in mobile applications, some might be based in web, some might be APIs, maybe a fintech, and they really want someone. It depends, and then it now depends. Some companies are very big; they have different, do I say, entities under them. So maybe they are looking for a QA for performance management in the HRIS platform, or they are looking for someone in fintech, or they are looking for someone that has experience with maybe gaming, mobile applications. So you are supposed to take your time before you click send. You analyze the job vacancy. What is the programming language of many organized companies will have a programming language that they prefer, and they are of course targeting software testers that are aligned to that. So for example, the company could be a JavaScript company, their framework is already in JavaScript, and they're looking for someone that has experience with it. So you should be looking at that, taking note, does it match with what I have? Okay, they're asking for Python. Oh, I don't know Python. It's Java, I know. So that means maybe it's not an opportunity for me to apply. Then you look at years of experience. And maybe because of the some people just apply. Oh, they're looking for a QA engineer with 1 to 2 experience, and you have about 12 years experience and you are applying. I'm sorry to say, but the likelihood that you will get the job is very, very slim. Or they're asking for someone that has 10 years experience and you have just 1 year experience for that role. So you need to pay attention to it, to all of that, because it's usually a red flag. It's a red flag kind of when someone that exceeds the years of experience, the expectation, and then you're applying for that role. It's a kind of a red flag. Why is this person applying with this caliber of experience, and why is this person applying for this role? Excuse me. Excuse me, please. And then I mentioned that you should put in mind that you'll be tested. So whatever you see there, you see a long list on the job required description, the requirements, the expectation. Put it in mind that as you're applying, are you sure that you will perform very well when you'll be tested? Like it could be technical interviews, it could be oral. From what they've said about the company, what they do, you've visited the website, you've seen maybe you downloaded their solution, the app. Are you sure that if they ask you to write maybe a test or something, or they ask you to defend something, will you be able to, will you excel before you apply? And then I mentioned here, apply to jobs you are qualified for. So don't just apply abruptly, just apply, just clicking. There's a feature on LinkedIn where it's easy apply. Because it's easy apply, you just keep on clicking the button. And I strongly advise people against this anyway. So the next slide says we're looking at our resume now. First of all, your resume should be ATS compliant. So what does it mean for your your resume to be ATS compliant? So just like I mentioned, those jobs usually have requirements, and like 99.5% of the time, the recruiters would have tailored. There's usually an application where you submit your resume or so they would have from at the back end there would have been requirements. Oh, we are looking for, you've already mentioned in the requirement, we are looking for someone with 3 to 5 years experience. Once they read through the application reads through your CV and it exceeds it, before it even gets to the hiring manager or to a human being, that application would have flagged it off. And so that's why I mentioned here, your resume should mirror the job description. Of course, as long as you meet the requirements. So, for example, I've seen cases where people they have experience in certain frameworks of certain programming languages, but somehow they forget to put it in their CV. Not sure why, but somehow they forget. And those are the keywords. Those are the keywords that those kind of applications like greenhouse and the likes. It has already been set up at the back end that once this keyword API testing is not in any CV, even if the person is 12 years experience, even if the person is working at Google, even if the person is the one that invented Selenium, once those keywords are not in that CV, just send an automatic email saying thank you for your application, but your application has been denied or something like that. That's why I don't know if you've noticed that sometimes when you apply, within 15 minutes, you go to maybe take a glass of water. Before you come back, they've responded to your email because they already have an automatic something set up behind the scene that automatically flags anything that does not meet the job description or requirement. So that is why I always say your CV should mirror the job description. Once they say, oh, they are looking for someone that has experience with any JavaScript framework, do you have? Yes. Check your CV to make sure that the word JavaScript is there. The frameworks is there. I really hope we are following. So number 3, I said let your PDF be brief and concise. I know you have a lot of things to say, but you can maybe leave the stories to the cover letter or maybe when you get the chance to meet the hiring manager. But it shouldn't be more than 2 pages maximum. That's what recruiters advise us to have: 2 pages, concise, straight to the point, frameworks you are using. You should even have a section for frameworks and languages and tools. You should have a section. that should even be beside after your name, your email address. At one corner, it should be very like easy for anyone to see. And then I mentioned for people in entry level, have put relevant experience or trainings, and that is better than having a blank page. I remember there was a couple like some months ago, when like about a year ago actually, when a company like approached me, my team, asking for people they wanted for internship roles, and that we should help screen some CVs and forward like the top, like the very good ones to them. And then I was surprised to see or to receive CVs from people with the CV was like half page, like half the page, one page was half like CV, and all the person had was just the school they attended, their name, email address, just half page. I really hope that now that you are here, if you fall in that category, please do the needful, put relevant experience, trainings. If you attended maybe a nano degree, you attended a 6 month training, add it. It's better than having a blank page. And that is why we always encourage people to volunteer, even if it's for free. It's something that you can always add. Or I'm as a freelancer with an intern somewhere for 8 months or something like that, and this was the framework. This was the project we talked about. You can put that under, since you are still entry level, you don't have so many and put I mentioned relevant experience. So many times we have situations where people are switching from other career paths, and then I've seen a situation where someone, I think the person studied law, and the person was switching to UI UX, and the person had like 3 or 4 pages of the CV was 3 to 4 pages, and everything was related to law, the cases, and I was just wondering, like, I just felt the person could have done more, could have portfolio, links to your portfolio could be on your CV, internship, or you attended a training for 8 months, put it there, and the project you worked on it. Once you learn, you go for a training, try to have like a project, put the portfolio, a link, public link to that project there, put it there, and things like that. So emphasis on relevant experience. So like I mentioned, we're still on the application for jobs section. So pay attention to application questions. So what do I mean by application questions? So usually many organizations, when they post a job ad, they many times, because they are trying to filter the quantity of job applications they receive. So, for example, maybe they want to they are recruiting for a junior role, and we, of course, everybody knows that junior, there are many people that want to come into tech. So we have a lot of people like in the junior like the career band kind of. So many companies, they already envisage that they will get maybe 10,000 job applications for just 2 or 3 spaces. So what they try to do is to add questions. So before you can submit your application, they will ask you some questions. They'll ask some questions so that they can filter the people that are not maybe really they're not good enough, or they don't meet their expectation. For example, because I've seen situations um, where the company advertises for a software quality assurance role. Then people in the QC, quality control in maybe medicine, in pharmacy, they apply because, out of maybe desperation, maybe they didn't read the job. So people just apply. So to weed out those kind of applications, companies usually have questions that accompany the job ad. And so I am saying it now, don't take it for granted. Don't excuse excuse me, don't just apply. Oh, I have 130 applications to submit this night, so let me just be clicking, just write anything. Pay attention, be intentional about applying, answering those questions, because of course the first stage is usually marked by maybe filtered by the ATSE, a software application that is used for accepting the applications. So some certain keywords might need to be there, but of course showcase your experience, so showcase your wealth of experience, your competence in the questions you're answering. Don't just give 2 lines and that's and I'm not saying you should bombard them with 5 pages for just one answer. once they might say in 3 paragraphs, give us an example where you, those kind of questions. Be deliberate. You list out, oh, number one, I believe, finally, first and foremost, in addition, not to mention the last but not the least, after that, you can give maybe a diagram or a table. I'm just trying, I'm just trying to give you examples now. To pay attention to application questions. Number two, then I'm saying be wary of fake job posts or recruiters. Just wanted to put that there because out of desperation, everyone you just see a job post, you apply, or a recruiter. I've heard many instances where they're fake job offers and they somehow get a hold of your account details and then we now start saying that we were scammed, things like that. But that is why I would advise don't be um so you're just in a hurry and just so desperate to apply. So just be pay attention and be wary of fake job posts and recruiters. Sometimes I get messages from so-called recruiters, and when I see the job offers, I know that this job offer is very unreasonable. Even CEOs don't collect that amount of money, so I just discard. I don't even pay attention to that. And then I said, um, be conscious of the data you provide in your resume. You don't need to put your full address. And number two, opposite, near, Mrs. No, just Lagos, Nigeria is okay. And then maybe if there's some job posts that they say you want people staying in maybe first stack and environs, but usually we don't have those kind of job posts in like the tech field. So be wary of the data you provide. Your phone number is okay, your email address, Lagos, Nigeria, and other things. And I wary of unreasonable offers. Then also pay attention to accompanying profile, your accompanying profile. So if you're applying on LinkedIn or whatever platform, be very this could take us like 30 minutes if I was going to delve into like your LinkedIn profile. Many times I see a lot of like headlines. I squash bugs. I deal with bugs for a living. Contact me. Yes, those lines sound very catchy and all of that, but usually job recruiters have a lot to do. They have a target, they have many things to do. So when they are searching on LinkedIn, they search with the goal of looking for people that have particular job descriptions in their headline. Software QA engineer, software QA analyst, something like that. You should not. You don't need to write. People that write sentences in their excuse me in their headline, maybe they are not in search of jobs. Excuse me, please. So please be wary of this, please. Excuse me. So
Sorry.
sorry, please. Pardon me. So mistakes. Excuse me.
Sorry, ma'am.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm just a bit under the weather. So I said mistakes. So there are a couple of mistakes that people make when they're applying for jobs. Sometimes they employ the services of, do I say, resume revampers, or so they help you craft a resume you cannot defend. I'm very fortunate to have been at either sides of the interview panel. So I've been very opportune to be an applicant and then people part of the panel interviewing people. Excuse me. And then we have instances where people come up with CVs and that says, I helped to save the company 90% of their resume and of their income or revenue. And then things like I saved software testing time by 80%, and they come up with a lot of big, huge words, just trying to, I don't know, impress. And then sometimes when we are having like discussion, maybe team interviews, you ask them. So you mentioned that when you were working somewhere, you did this. What were you using to track this metric? You said you saved maybe 80%, you increased revenue, things like that. But they can't defend it, or they say that they are in their. Now we've mentioned that you should put things like your frameworks and tools, and then they put a lot of things, a lot of tools like that maybe they used a while ago, maybe 8 years ago, 10 years ago, and then maybe because that is an area the company is interested in. For example, when people put um, tools that they use for performance testing, things like JMeter or the Grafana, things like that, K6, they put everything, the list of frameworks, and there's so and a lot, they're like quite, it's a long list. And then maybe because the company is currently having issues with performance testing, and they see, oh, wow, you put performance testing there on your CV, and they ask you, so how do we? They now start asking you questions regarding that, and then unfortunately you cannot defend it. So please let's like refrain. Whatever you put on your CV, be sure that, oh, okay, I can brush up before they call me for interview. I can brush up. Oh, I used the tool last year, so I can just take a quick look. But any framework, anything you cannot defend, it's better not to put it there. Mm. Excuse me. Another mistake people do is that they attend interviews without doing due diligence about about the company, their values. I always advise people to go to there are a lot of software or websites that you can see reviews about the companies like Glassdoor. Visit the company's website, know about the services they offer. What are they offering? Is it mobile? So that whenever they call you for interview, you can flow. They're having discussions. You can always pitch in apply your experience into what um, their need is, what the service they're offering. Excuse me. And then I said another mistake here is submitting application in mass. That means you are just submitting the applications. "Ah, I need a job. Oh, maybe there was a downsizing in your company, and then you feel that, oh, I need to get a job quickly, I have a family to feed and all of that, and then you just apply, you see 100 opportunities, 100 opportunities. Usually in those kind of situations, many companies might not suit, might not, their requirement to match your CV or what the kind of value you are providing. And so many times you get a lot of rejection emails, and those things usually affect you might not say, you might just feel, oh, it's one of those. Usually those things affect your esteem. And so just read the job application before you apply, research. You can contact, maybe you have friends working in that organization, ask them very well before you apply, so that even if it's 10 jobs you're applying for, 8 jobs, you know that you have a very good chance. And then if they now, maybe you get to the second to last stage and they say, oh, sorry, we can't go on, you know that you've put in your best, and you don't feel very as bad as like sending 100 applications and getting 95 no's or 98 no's. So we'll be going section that's acing interviews, and I'd really love us to pay attention to this part. Um, So we have different kinds of interviews. Of course, I'm sure many of us are aware. We have the entry or the first door interview. So those are the kind of interviews you will have maybe with a non-tech person. So that means maybe you have a first interview probably with a talent recruiter. Maybe it could be a tech recruiter, but not a QA person, not the engineering manager. So we have those kind of interviews. Excuse me. We have interviews, the technical interviews that many people dread, where they're asking you to like showcase your technical skills. We have the interviews, the like informal uh, team fit interviews, where maybe you are paired with the team, maybe the team you are most likely to work with if you pass the interview. So we have this kind of interviews, and then we have the remote versus on-site interviews. Yeah, either you go to the office to have the interviews, or They just ask you to join via a Google Meet link or a Zoom link, things like that. Okay, so I said before interviews, number one, please go through the company website. What are the values? And whatever information, you're not just asking, you are not just going to the website for going through sake. Whatever question you are answering, try to like slot it in, kind of. Or maybe you see their values are the maybe whatever the values is, and when you say why did you apply to for this job, I went to the company website, I noticed you are working on this this very interesting to me. Excuse me. I'm very fascinated about this. It's something that has been of interest. I worked on something similar, things like that. I noticed your values are this, they resonate with me. Those are the reasons why you are going to the website, not just because you want to tick a checklist. So whatever you're doing, you are being deliberate, and those kind of knowledge you are applying whatever you say during your interviews, if you are called for the interview. Then go to the engineering blog to have a feel of what the company is about, their engineering, their tech stack, their culture. These are the things you would say when they call you for interview. You go through before the interview, like I've said severally already, job description requirements. And this is where I want us to pay attention to. Prepare ahead for sure banker questions. What are the sure banker questions? We know that the first question you will always be asked is introduce yourself. So already prepare what you are going to say, rehearse it. My name is, I currently work here. I currently work so place where this is what we do. Briefly, you don't need to tell us when the company started, how you told a developer to fix a bug and it did not, and so you are tired. Just it should not be more than like statements. This, I currently work at this, where we do this, I have experience working this, things like that. Just briefly. I thank you for this opportunity. Looking forward to things like that. Just 5 statements should not exceed that. Then another question you will surely be asked is, why did you apply for the role? Maybe the company has like three stages of the interview. There is no how that you will not be asked this question. Why did you apply for this role? Uh, of course, just like I mentioned, things that you've learned from the company website are things that you would use. Then I said FAIQS. So this is what I mean is frequently asked interview questions. So before you attend the interview, you already Google what are the frequently asked software QA engineering questions for mid-level. You already Googled it, you rehearse them, you prepare it. Oh, I need to read the differences between verification and validation. Oh, I need to revise again. Severity versus what was the priority? Oh, okay, they've said that they usually ask this kind of questions. So you prepare, you read it. What I do, I have a Google document. I have all those questions and the answers. So I revise it already, just in, so that I can say there are some keywords those interview panel want to hear. You might know it off, you know how to apply it, but they can't read your mind. So you need to be able to say those keywords and they say, that's what we are looking for. Then I said the star model. The star model, whenever I answer a question, is situation, task, action, and result. So whenever they ask you a question, have you ever experienced a situation where star S situation, you say this situation, there was a deep project, excuse me, the project was about this, the task that you are responsible for. Oh, I was responsible. I was the only QA on the team, and the project was about this action. What I did to solve the problem. Oh, I collaborated with the developers. We came up with a framework, and unit test. We did. Then your results. After doing that, we noticed that the result was this. You don't just continue talking. Usually use the star model whenever you're answering behavioral questions, especially, or maybe questions about your skills or like behavioral instances when they are expecting you to share your experience. The star model. Then show your motivation. When I mean show, like showing your body language, your enthusiasm, your zeal in answering the questions, in knowing their names. Of course, usually interviews they will say, "My name is Clara. I'm the tech recruiter. I'm the head of QA." Note down their questions and show motivation and enthusiasm when you're answering your questions. Come with your own questions too. It shows that you're interested in joining the team. And then, just like I said here, they can't read your mind. So, effective communication. Say full sentences. Don't assume they know what you mean. Assume that they don't even know what software testing is. So, you explain it in layman, you explain, give them examples, cite it, and you say it in concise, clear manner they can easily understand. Then I mentioned interview etiquette, um, punctuality, politeness. Those are things that everybody wants a polite and a punctual team member. So whatever interview stage you are in, be punctual. Let them meet. If it's an online call, let them meet you waiting in the waiting. That's what we call it on the probably Google Meet or Zoom. Let them click on the link and see that Mr. John is already waiting to join the interview. Not that they are waiting, and then you join 10 minutes later. Then I said aesthetics. So what do I mean by aesthetics? So if it's an online interview, ensure that light is covering your face. You are not backing the light. You have a clean, calm background, and just pay attention to all of that. Because, for example, if you want to join a team that is hybrid or remote role, they expect that you should have a decent workspace, things like that. Then emotional intelligence. Many people usually they don't pay attention to this. So when they ask you a question, you just continue going on and on and on. Read the room. When I mean read the room, just pay attention to their gesticulations, their body language. So when you see that they started scratching their head, they are yawning, they are drinking water, they are looking away. It should tell you something. Either you are saying too much, you are going out of point. Maybe they ask you A, you are going to Z plus one. So my mom met my father, and then I didn't know how I got into software testing. Then suddenly I had, and then you see people yawning. So pay attention, especially when you are you're having an online interview. Pay attention. So yeah. Their facial expressions, their body language, and you too. I said body language. When you're frequently scratching your head, you are yawning, or you are just looking away. You just seem not interested. It sends a signal because especially for online interviews, whether or not they are doing it intentionally or not, usually people that are interviewing, their senses are heightened, so they are paying attention to the things that they might not have on their checklist. How you are saying it, your enthusiasm, your smile, your laughter, your rapport that you are developing with. They are paying attention to whether or not it's on the checklist, whether or not the head of engineering said we are looking for people that laugh a lot or that are they look warm. Those kind of things are they're already paying attention to it, whether or not they like it. So I said, turn on your webcam. You'll be surprised that people who attend online interview without the intention of turning on their camera. Turn it on, and like I've mentioned, have a good background. Let the light um, um, fall on your face. Don't back the light. Have a maybe a plastic flower or a nice window, a nice view, and present yourself. Wear look good. You don't need to wear a suit. Well, in tech, they don't really expect that you wear a suit, but still dress for ladies. You can wear shirts and have collar. I like to do that. So whether or not you have a rigid work culture in your organization or you are laid back, and still this I'm still in between. And then I said, practice with the tech the interview uses. So that means if they said let us meet, use Google Meet, Google Zoom, where Microsoft Teams, you already practice, join the link, download the application, test it. Okay, when they say mute yourself or mute yourself, I know where the button is, share your screen, I know where to share my screen, and things like that. So briefly, quickly, we'll be going to um, mistakes, frequent mistakes for interviews. So usually people don't prepare well for interviews. Many people forget that you are the one that sets the tones for interview. So things like the things you say, like how you introduce yourself. Oh, I'm an expert in this, or I know this, that. from whatever you say from your first answer will set the tone for the kind of other questions you will be asked, how you present yourself. If you are not showing any form of enthusiasm, you don't notice that the interview is just, I don't know, do I say depressing or not exciting? So attend, come alive, be alive, be involved, pay attention. You don't need to be afraid, or you don't need to like stutter. Yes, maybe at the first few minutes, but relax, because if you don't relax, they will not hear you. You will not be coherent. Not, and they can't read your mind, even if you have all the experience and you have the solution to whatever challenge you're having. They won't employ you because you've not proven yourself. So relax, be audible. You said it, don't be excited. Hi, good afternoon. My name is this. Just be vibrant. Then forget. Sometimes people forget to tailor their experience to meet the company's needs. So just like I've mentioned, when you go through the company's website and all of that, you tailor your experience. Oh, you notice that, yeah, excuse me, it's a fintech company. I noticed when I recall when I had um I had I was working with another organization. I worked on this project API. You are applying all your experience, your knowledge to meet the company's need. Don't just say, "Oh, I'm a software tester, so I know how to do manual testing, functional testing." So I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. And then sometimes people get carried away during the discussion. So maybe first, maybe it's a 30-minute call. The first 20 minutes, you feel like everything is going well, and then um, you are carried away. And I hear people that say, "Who cares about this?" You start saying things that some people take it seriously. Oh, that developers, they don't like to solve, but they don't like to resolve bugs, and you forget that maybe the person, one of the people on the panel is software developer, so he's just waiting for you. So after the call, and he say, "Oh, what do you think? Should we employ?" Everybody else might say yes, but that person would definitely say no, because might have said something that would have maybe tipped him off, or her off. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. So don't get carried away. Yes, the interview is going well. Don't spoil it or don't ruin it by saying something that would tip someone off. And be kind, be polite, and respect any different views. Interviews quickly. I believe I've taken a lot of time already. Um, Technical interviews could come in different formats. It could say, they could send you an email with a document with maybe 3 questions. Take it home, do it. We give you 3 days to finish it. Um, or it could be, you're welcome. We have an interview with so person, and then you just now say, "Oh, share your screen. Do you have your ID installed on this laptop?" I've attended that kind of interview before. That I didn't know I was going to like write code in the interview, and then it's just say, "Do you have your ID on that laptop?" I said yes. Okay, share your screen now. I'm going to send you a question, and then they sent me a question on the call. Um, um, do this, write this test, to look at, to assert this, to verify this, to go through this and that. And that was how the interview went. To share your screen. Sometimes you could be asked to maybe solve questions related to algorithms. I'm not sure why some teams do that, but you can't deny that some teams still do that. They could ask you to make you a solution, then they ask you to defend it. Maybe 3 people could be waiting. Oh, yeah, go ahead, defend the solution. Or they could ask you, maybe on site or online, they could ask you, open a notepad. They won't allow you use an ID. They're just trying to see. So ID, for people that are not ID, like the development, the interface, that's visual code where you write your code, things like that. That would even help to maybe flag errors with your syntax and all of that. They ask you to use Notepad, or they ask you to use a board. I've heard instances where they ask an engineer to come maybe on site. They give you a marker and a blackboard or a marker board. Now write this code. So we have instances like that. Then during technical interviews, what should you showcase? Many times people think that it's only about writing code. So whenever you're giving maybe a take-home assignment, take-home interview, take-home task, or maybe you're asked to share your screen, as you are writing it, Don't just maybe because you've practiced and practiced, and then you're just writing it, writing, just typing. Show them your thought process, because when you get on board, usually you have instances of peer programming. So peer programming means maybe you are sharing, somebody's having issues with their code, excuse excuse me, and then both of you are peering to write maybe code, and they just want to see your collaboration. They just want to know your thought process. What's your reasoning? Excuse me. What's your reasoning behind, behind all what you are writing? Why are you going through this strategy, this route? Just walk them through. Don't just type. Showcase your thought process, even in the reports you give. So sometimes they give you a take-home assignment. um don't just oh, I've done. You just zip the file and send to them. Have a readme file that explains, okay, to set up the code on your laptop, you need to install npm, you need to run this command on your terminal. Why did you use page object model? Why didn't you use it? Why is a particular test failing? It's failing because there's a bug on the application. You take your time to write it using, if it's maybe on GitHub, you use the markup language. I advise against you uploading a PDF file. You write it. Oh, the frameworks used. I use this language, I use this, the reasoning behind it, the mode, I use the page object model because this and that, things like that. And then I said, your best work, whenever you're giving a task, give your best work in the shortest time, because if asked you to give your best work, doesn't mean you should spend 4 hours doing it. So your code, I said engineering or clean code. When we say clean code, like things in objects, the OOP concepts, apply the OOP concepts like encapsulation, inheritance. You let your code be readable. So we can talk about that later, because I think I might have exceeded my time already. Don't forget, it's a two-way street. They need you as you need them. Failing an interview is not the end of the world. It could just be a redirection. And then interviews are an avenue to learn and be assessed on your skills. So thank you very much. I hope I've been able to do justice to that.
Okay. We have a couple of hands up. We have a couple of hands up. So we'll start with 1 minute. Let me open my. Let me see who's on. Okay. Olawole. Olawole, you have a question, right? Please unmute.
Yes. I have a question.
Okay.
Good morning.
All right.
And thank you for giving me this opportunity. So I just want to ask, like, how can a QA answer these questions during the interview? When the interviewer asks, how do you handle stress? How can we answer that kind of question?
Okay, thank you very much for your question. So I would like to start with saying that that kind of question is an example of what we call behavioral questions. And what you are trying to see is how you work in real life and just how you are able to express yourself. And I've said it, use the star model, the situation. Oh, how do you handle stress? For me, if I was going to answer that, I would say, oh, I remember the time when I was asked to work on a huge cross-functional project that involved like 10 teams. That's the situation. I remember I said star model, and that's the situation. And I was the only QA working with 8 teams, or you can say I was the only QA in a team of 9 engineers, and I was so stressed because I'm someone that pay attention to quality. I don't like missing bugs or shipping bugs to production. Stress now, and I was so stressed and things like that. So what I did was to meet with the engineering manager to plan how we could achieve quality without me being overwhelmed with the task at hand. And so what we did was to set up a user acceptance test or test criteria or test cases, and we gave it to the developer before they ship it to UAT environment or staging environment. The developers will go through that checklist on their own first of all, Then once it passes on their local environment, then they ship it, and then can you see how I'm putting my framing my answer now? I mentioned the situation, how you were stressed, the what will give you the stress, your task, you're the only QA, the approach, then the results. Then you now notice at the end of the day, I noticed that we shipped very few bugs to production, and they were in very, very few. We attained our target dates in due time, and then it just taught me how to be innovative. How you see how I'm like putting that in now? It taught me how to be innovative, how to be collaborative, how to involve everyone to be part um of the of maintaining and achieving quality products. So I don't know if that answers your question. So that's the
Yeah,
way.
yeah. I already got to the point. Yeah, I get
Yes.
the point. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, someone asked a question in the chat section. He said, "Is it okay to ask them questions about feedbacks?"
Okay, what do you mean by feedback? Is it feedback about about how you did in the interview, or maybe you can maybe explain for the feedbacks about how you did, or I don't know, maybe you can please throw more light in that question.
Yes, regarding the interview, like how you performed during the interview.
Well, many times it depends on the kind of. Well, usually they might not tell you, "Oh, you did well." In fact, you are moving to the next stage. They will usually tell you that, "Oh, um, we'll get back to you in our team will get back to you in 1 or 2 days about your performance, or whether or not we'll be going ahead with you." Because of course, obviously, you are not going to be the only one being interviewed. They usually would like to like compare notes. Oh, we have 15 applicants. We've interviewed 14 people. This is the 15th person. So they would like to, and we only have slots for 2 people. So usually they would like to do they would like to sync before they, but usually they'll just say, "Oh, yeah, no, they'll just give you a neutral answer." You can ask, but just prepare your mind that they might not tell you, "Oh, you did extremely well. In fact, you were the best applicants." No, they will usually not tell you. Just say, "Oh," all you can do is just to say, "Oh, I look forward to joining the team." This and that's like the best you can say, because they will not be specific about your performance. I don't know if that answers your question.
All right. Does anybody have any other question? Okay, yeah, he said he gets. Okay, Dolapo, please unmute and ask your question. Hi, Dolapo, you can ask your question.
You are
Oh,
muted.
sorry. I
Okay.
didn't mute. You're mute. All right. Good morning, Ma. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to ask my question. So I just wanted to ask that in an interview that you know that you don't want this kind of job, like it's a tester's job, right? But then maybe you prefer to work remotely, but they're offering maybe full on site and all of that. Is it polite to continue with such interview, knowing fully well that you don't want that kind of job? Or could you just say, oh, you are not interested in that kind of job?
Well, for me, well, for me personally, I will continue. I might continue. It depends. It really depends on the situation, or the um I don't know how I'll answer it, but it depends on the situation actually. So why don't you want to? It depends actually. I don't know how to answer this question. But for me, I would finish the interview, and then at the when it now gets to the stage where you did well and they are offering you the there's an offer on the table, and they say, "Okay, you did very well, and would like to have you on the team. This is the offer. We are looking at maybe 5,000 naira per year or something like that." And they come up with and then you can now ask again that, "I know that you already said it's an on-site. Is it going to be? Is it that we cannot have an hybrid arrangement, maybe one day off or something like that?" It depends on the situation. And some people they already say it. I know you can ask at the first stage. I know it's not we can not negotiable. You have to come, things like that. You can now say maybe no if they've said it that is non-negotiable. But if you feel you have the first interview, second interview, you like you like maybe the way the interviews are asking the company culture, the way they are interviewing you, feel okay, something I can work out. Maybe they might maybe bend a bit. They could say, okay, one day off or something like that. You can now wait till the end. I don't know. It depends on um the context. That's what I would say. And then if they say no, no, we can't. Oh, I'm sorry. The reason why I cannot take this offer is because I have kids at home. It's far. I can't work on the island. Things like that. It's far from my home. I have two young kids. I was hoping that from the values of the company, you said that you are. You give preference to parents or something. You just use maybe play a card, one of your values, and I was hoping that um, you would consider me as a working mother, as a father with six children, or something like that. Just try to uh, just to win them over a bit, using their words maybe on their website or what they've said during the course of the interview, and be hopeful that maybe you'll get something adjusted for your sake. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
All right. So does any other person have any question? Any question, any suggestion, any contribution? Okay. All right. So like I said, when I made the announcement concerning the tech thank you so much. First of all, thank you so much, Tomi. Thank you so much. We really appreciate, and I myself have learned one or two things from this session, and I'm sure the audience too, they've heard one or two things. So this session is recorded, and I'll be dropping the link to the YouTube because I'll be uploading it on YouTube very soon. So I'll be dropping the link. I'll send it to you too, Tomi. So, and I'll be dropping the link on Testers Quarter. So first of all, if you're not on Testers Quarter, I think you should join. It's a place you need to be. Like, we share a lot of things go on there. So I don't think anybody here should not be on Testers Quarter. Okay, so let me see. Someone asked a question. He said, if you
Yes, you
don't
can.
get a feedback, okay.
Yes, like of course, it's not a wrong thing to do. You can always send, oh, thank you very much for your time. There are many templates of those kind of emails online. I cannot search um, yeah, emails to send to check to follow up on interview. You can just Google it. But the summary of the email you'll be sending it should be, thank you very much for your time. It was very an insightful experience learning more about the company and meeting the tech recruiter or the engineering manager. Just wanted to follow up on our discussion as I'm yet to receive any feedback regarding the interview. I don't know whether just something around what I said. That's how you would phrase your email. You can also check online for those kind of templates, those examples, sample emails, and then you send. It's very okay.
Great. So yeah, I hope she has answered your question. Yeah, so I've dropped a link for those who want to join the testers quota. I don't think anybody here should not be able to join the testers quota. Like, a lot of things go around there, and we share job opportunities. We share. You're the first person to hear about jobs in QA, jobs about QA when you're on testers quota. And this is the link to join us on Slack. Also, I said something about the testers meet and greet, which is coming up on the 30th of March. I'll be also be dropping a link to what's it called again now? To join to register. Sorry. So this is the registration link. Do well to register. We need about 300 people. So after those 300 people register, we're going to be closing up the registration. So would like that you seize this opportunity. This is the link to register. for, yeah, I can see you guys joining now. Thank you so much. So also try as much as possible to register for the testers meet and greet. It's something you will enjoy. I'm sure you will really enjoy. You enjoy. Those that attended our Techies Meet Testers last year, it was a talk of the town. If you can check us on Instagram, where we made some of the highlights, and also on YouTube. So I'll be dropping the link to this session for those who joined later today or tomorrow, so you can watch the session, and you can also watch it on YouTube. So thank you so much, Tomi. I really enjoyed it. And for everyone who joined, thank you so much for your time, and have a blessed weekend.
Somebody has a question. Sorry for
Are you all right?
is the person says, if you are a freelancer and being asked in a recent interview why you want to leave your current job, is it all right to let them know you will keep the freelance gig? That is no, no. That is, do I say a question of your conscience? It depends. So it depends on the role, like I would say. So there are some jobs that are maybe consulting or contract jobs. So for contract jobs, you can always, they are not expecting you to be there full time. It's a contract. Even when the contract you are signing, they would tell you that it's a contract and you are not tied to. There's a way they phrase it in legal terms. But if it's a full role and they're expecting you to um be there fully, I mean, I don't encourage people to do so anyway, but it depends on your conscience. Me, I would not advise people to like maintain two full jobs at the same time. But if it is like okay, you are doing maybe you tests, you're doing you tests, all those crowd sourcing platforms which you do maybe at home or something like that, that's fine. But you are expected to resume 9 to 5, and you are both jobs. They think you are there 9 to 5. They think you are an employee here. They think you're an employee there. They feel that you're online here. You are online there. I feel I don't really support that actually.
Okay, are you trying to say, let me ask a question. Are you trying to say that testers should not do more than one full-time job?
Of the same role, the same time working time working hours. Personally, I wouldn't do that. But if it is, oh, you are supposed to resume here 9 to 5 and then somewhere else. I don't. That's my personal. It's not a casting stone. It's not.
Okay.
That's my conscience.
Oh, okay. All right. I think someone asked a question too in this chat session. He said, in an interview whereby you're asked, how do you handle a situation whereby you're given an application to test on Friday evening and you are to submit report or feedback on Monday morning stand up? How do you answer this kind of question?
It's not a question. They are your employers. Unfortunately, we have many instances like that. You have no choice but to do it. I mean, it's better for you to show up with the report. Excuse me. It's better for you to show up with the report. I remember. Excuse me. I remember I experienced things like that like a couple of years ago. It was very tough, and let me just say it helped me at the end. It helped me. It made me better. I was able to work faster when I was leaving the place and attending interviews. Excuse me. There are many instances of when they ask you, when were you stressed? Just like somebody asked, excuse me, when were you stressed? Or give us an why, how do you handle stress? I had many instances like that. So I was able to answer with experience. So when they were putting me, like absorbing me into the company, I was not a junior because I had a lot of valuable experience to share. I had this kind of experience when I was working with a fintech. I wish not to say the company. So there was, excuse me, instances like that when it seemed unreasonable, but I gave it my best. I developed character. I developed speed. I was able to hone my testing skills because those kind of skills will always remain with you. Your manager would they might not feel they might not say to your face that, oh, you are doing a great job, thank you for showing up on time, but at the back of their mind, they know that you are a good team player, and so when they are, your other colleagues are seeing you and watching you, there will always be a referral. So yes, it seems unreasonable, but me, I would advise that you do it. You do a good job. You might now maybe you start I was not able to. I don't really like that. Say it in a polite way and just say it. Friday evening, I have to spend time with my family, things like that. But me, I would advise you still just prepare to do the work and do it well. And just know that your manager is not the only one watching you, colleagues are watching you. Like I run a mentorship platform, and people that are on the platform are people that I had worked with before, had seen how they work, their work ethic, and things like that. So those are the kind of people that are our mentors. When people referred me to job, it was because of what I exhibited. So just put it in mind that you are not just working to please your manager, but people are watching, God is watching, and there's always a reward for things like that. So I hope that answers your question. Someone says, if you're asked in an interview, what questions do you have? How do we go about? Of course, I just like I mentioned, you'd have gone through their company. You should have many questions. What's the work culture? What kind of framework do they use? How is the work QA team set up? What is the expectation? Performance management. How do they manage performance, promotions? Excuse me. Questions around how your work will be done and how. There are so many questions that I could ask.
All right. Thank you so much. I don't know if any other person has any other question. And I think we've exhausted our time anyways. All right. Thank you so much, Tomi. And like I said, I've posted the link to join Testers Quarter, and I've seen a couple of us join Testers Quarter on Slack. I've also posted the link to join the for the meet and greet. For the meet and greet coming up on 3rd of March. Kindly sign up. Kindly sign up, and I would like to see everyone, especially if you're in Lagos. I would like to meet with you and know you, put a face to the names I'm seeing here. All right, thank you so much, and have a very, very wonderful weekend. Bye. Thank you, Faith. I see you. Bye.